Hey everyone, Darren from hostelmanagement.com. I just got done editing the most recent episode of Hostel Road Trip Podcast with Jimmy Black and Bobby Dyer, where they're interviewing Chris from Dorms.com. And I think you'll notice that Dorms.com is actually relating with the hostel industry in a way that feels very special and very unique. They're looking for a much more collaborative approach with us, the suppliers. I really appreciate that. But what I really wanted to bring your attention to is at the end of the formal interview, Chris actually asked some questions of Jimmy and Bobby and how they can actually make the Dorms.com platform serve hostels better. So don't miss that. And once he actually gives that information, I'll actually come on again and give you my perspective on that as well. All right, thanks a lot. Thanks for watching, and here's the Hostel Road Trip Podcast with Jimmy Black and Bobby Dyer starting now.
Welcome back to the Hostel Pandemic mini-series. I'm Jimmy Black with the Hostel Road Trip Podcast. I'm joined social distancing from a different room, Robert Dyer from ITH Hostels.
Hello there.
And we've got Chris from Dorms.com joining us live from Vancouver.
Hey guys, everyone. Hello.
How do I pronounce your last name? I didn't want to chop it up.
Don't worry, Chris Morisseau will do.
All right, okay. I'm glad I just went with Chris then. I didn't want to.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Thanks, James.
Well, so we're super excited to be here with Chris, and Chris is with Dorms.com, so he's going to be able to give us some analytics and analysis on the recovery timeline of the industry. At the end of the episode, he'll be able to provide us with some more numbers on that. But just to hear a little bit more for the listeners about Dorms.com, could you tell us a bit about your platform and what you guys do and what you're all about?
Well, thanks. First of all, thanks, Bobby. Thanks, James, for having me here just to talk about the industry. Because at the end of the day, we're in the hostel industry. It's the only thing we do. We live by our guests. This is what we do. And very excited to talk about it today because at the end of the day, Dorms.com is an OTA. We only do hostels. And that's a key element why a lot of our properties, the properties we work with, join us, because at the end of the day, I scratch your back, you scratch mine, and we only focus on the hostels. So when we look at the way we put the platforms together is really around backpackers. The key, obviously, for type of guest is Gen Z and millennials. So this is where we send to properties. Mentioning OTAs, obviously, for the hostel owners. We always talk about why do I need an OTA. I do understand that if I were a hostel owner, I would want to have direct bookings, not paying any commission. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But from time to time, you want guests you're not able to reach on your own for whatever reasons. And so it could be from, if you're in the USA, you want some backpackers that come from Spain or France or Germany or whatever they are, or from Brazil or South America. So for us, we're in 13 different languages. So really it's about bringing incremental business to the hostel owners, okay? This is not to take away your own business you can have on your own. It makes sense to me. Again, if I were a hostel owner, I will try to get as many direct bookings.
You understand as well. Yeah.
We're all good with that.
Yeah.
So this is what we do. And we're happy to I'd be happy to share some ideas and share some numbers today.
Yeah.
What I've seen out there worldwide, and I can help the hostel industry because we're in the same boat.
When did Dorms.com start?
So we started 3 years ago.
Okay, relatively young.
As directly having our own inventory. When I say own inventory, is to talk directly with properties. And we used to have different brands worldwide where we used to sell a lot of bookings to affiliate programs, to other wholesalers. And then we decided to directly to talk to hostel owners with a lower commission rate and so on. And so Dorms.com itself, 3 years old, had an office in Dublin, but I'm personally in Vancouver. We got staff in Spain, France, worldwide.
Based out of Dublin, you started a few years ago. Would you say that, do you have hostels in every continent now?
Yeah, we got everywhere. Like we got thousands of properties worldwide. We've got the big players. Well, I'm not going to mention any names. Obviously, we got the big players. But what I'm saying is, we want as well to the tier 2 cities, we call them, the smaller cities where we want a better coverage. But overall, from Dublin to Amsterdam to San Diego to New York and Philippines, to wherever it is, we are worldwide. So we do.
What kind of stuff do you guys do to? What kind of stuff do you guys do to differentiate yourself from, say, Hostel World?
Yeah, so the main one, obviously, is when someone is searching for a city. I'm just thinking San Diego for it, in your case, because you guys are in San Diego. We're not showing anything else. We're only showing hostels. So if someone types on Google hostel in San Diego, we're not going to show like the other guys, hostel or hotel or whatever it is. So all the branding you do on your city about a hostel, well, some other OTAs have tendency to say, well, I'm going to make higher margins on these products or whatever it is. I'm going to promote another product. Although you worked on that market yourself about the branding of the hostel. So first of all, for us, we only do hostels. So that's easy. Okay. So that's how backpackers, I guess, are backpackers, and they know what a hostel is. So they don't give you a bad review because I didn't know, it's a good price. I just booked, and I'm like, I didn't know how to share. I didn't know how to share my room with somebody else. Well, $30 a room, a bed, it's a dorm. Oh, I didn't read these. So
that's
I'm sure
amazing.
I don't know if you had that experience, but our guests, they know what a hostel is. They are going to spend money on activities in your property. We provide the email address of the guest, so you can upsell him on other things before he arrives, time of arrival, after arrival. You got everything. So really, partnership with hostels to say, okay, how can we make you more profitable? Very making money with the operation, and we're here to help.
Nice. That's great. I think definitely, as more and more hostels and different kind of properties are opening up, boutique hotels, having a specific OTA just for hostels where you get the right kind of traveler really can help, like you're saying, get the right person in your hostel so you can offer the right experience for the backpackers. As it's, like you say, it's tough to offer the great backpacker experience if that's what your hostel is for, if you have all different kinds of travelers that may not be hostel travelers. So that's great.
The expectations, right? I think in our industry, expectations are so important when in America, especially when you have an unknown emerging industry. You have a lot of people trying it out for the first time, and you don't want to lose them by scaring them almost or overwhelming them. So it is so important that they know they're going into a hostel or that atmosphere for them to have the right experience. So that's really cool angle that I see what you're doing there. But from more of a business perspective, 3 years ago, Dormscom gets into the hostel industry. This is pre-pandemic and all these things. What was it that made you want to get into the hostel industry? Did you see a uptick in the industry, or a lot of people in the past couple of years, you've seen Hilton and Marriott, big investment companies, venture capitalist money coming into the hostel industry, which can be intimidating at times. But what did you see that made you jump into the industry?
I was in the industry before, like the past 10 years, and I had guests who have brands that were booking beds. We didn't have the direct relationship with the properties. So we had guests, but we didn't have a property. So we're like, okay, 1 second, we can have everything in a better way and having our own direct relationship with the properties. So that's the main reason. We have guests, but no properties working with us. Now we got both, which is good news. But we didn't have it. We had guests. So that's a good thing to have, because a lot of OTAs, sometimes they start and don't have any guests, but they got properties, but they're not sending any bookings. This is not the case for us. Secondly, I'm aware of, I see what's happening in the European markets for the big players, as you said. There's some major partner, like we work with Joe and Joe. They have different brand. It's a group, Accor group. Obviously, other players as well have their own little niche and branding and the way they market the products they have is very, very creative. In Eastern Europe, obviously as well, Budapest, Prague, are very, very creative with their product. And so the idea of this whole hostel in the middle of the French Alps or whatever it is, and it's like it's not really what's changing, obviously. It's a very difficult time of our lives and business lives and so on. It's going to rebound and rebound in a good way. And so long term, I'm very confident the hostel industry is going to grow because the big players are there too, and they see there's more revenue per bed than when you're in a dorm versus a private room, and the type of customers and how they spend the money when they are at the property.
Yeah.
So I'm very optimistic.
That's good. And to kind of dive into that topic now of that timeline recovery, but a little bit on that, as big players came into the market, Hilton, Marriott, a lot of my peers in the industry, other hostel owners were very intimidated, run for the hills. But there is another way to look at that in the way that it's an affirmation to your business model and in your investment that some very smart big players are coming in as well because they're seeing the same movement within that industry. So it can be an affirmation and a little bit of wind in the sails if you look at it in that way. But as far as this pandemic and how we navigate out of it, in San Diego, for example, we've already seen half of the hostels close. So from our perspective at ITH, we're like, okay, well, if we just batten down the hatches and we come out the other side of this, there's not going to be as much supply. There's not going to be as much competition. And you're going to have a lot of younger people with cheaper flights, anxious to jump out there and travel. So we're seeing a little bit more of a positive light now that we've seen a lot of hostels close. What do you see as far as the industry timeline based off of what you're seeing at Dorms.com of what you would see in recovery of bookings and things like that?
Yeah, so first of all, let me look at where we see where the volume just crashed, really, worldwide. We noticed on March 9th.
March 9th.
March 9th, the whole thing just crashed, okay? Yeah. Worldwide, I'm talking about. And obviously, we are very strong in the European market, that within Europe, and then Europe to North America and Asia. But March 9th was for us the day, okay? And we saw a drop by 50%, pretty much. Then on March 14, from February and March, we saw 90% drop, okay? Huge drop worldwide, okay? And obviously, because nobody can travel and so on. So it went from very little to now we're at very, very, very small numbers. Now, and on top of it, the 10% are on the websites and bookings or whatever, or they're on the website, half of them want their money back. So understandable, they want to cancel, there's refundable, non-refundable rates. The non-refundable very tricky to deal with. The refundable, obviously, are refundable. So we work with a lot of properties as well to see if we can, instead of giving a refund, is to give a credit. There's some law now on the European level that says that you don't have to give a refund. You can give a credit up to 18 months. And after, if the credit has not been used, then you have to give a refund.
Oh!
I'm talking about European market.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So that is to protect the industry, obviously, especially the hospitality and so on, group operators and so on. So there was a lot of group operators who have gone bankrupt because they couldn't handle the cash flow position was very difficult. So we do see a recovery right now. We can talk about a bit just in 2 minutes after, but the recovery in Asia is picking up now. We can see, but it's really within the same country.
Oh.
So within China, there's traffic coming back now, but it's around 30 to 50% of what it used to be, but it's within China. And same thing for the other countries. It's not cross-border yet.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Yeah, it's interesting with the
But there is recovery. There is recovery. That's a good news. By the way.
Yeah.
The domestic market is an obvious one where you know, if you are in the USA, within the USA, you should be able to get some traveling going back sooner than later. Now, we were looking at the average bed, the value on average bed and pricing you were mentioning. In February, the average bed in a dorm was around $24 for US, 22 euros. In March, it was a bit higher, and I'm talking about inventory, okay? Beds in dorms, in hostels. So it's really high in this too. In March, it was $26. It's a bit, it went up a bit. In April, it's 32 euros, $32, sorry, 30 euros for a bed in a dorm on average. So the price didn't go back, they don't go down.
Okay.
Hostels worldwide are keeping their pricing a bit the same, if not higher, based on obviously the peak season's going to start, was supposed to start, I should say, and so they didn't really change a lot of pricing there. Okay, doesn't mean because at the end of the day, there's no traveler. So there is a bit of a drop in May, where the pricing is on average is going to $30 from $32 on average worldwide on the price of a bed in the dorm. My first reaction, before even looking at numbers, say, "Wow, I'm sure that the price went down, slashed by 50%, a better deal." Hostels want really having some bookings, so they're going to decrease the price. No,
You didn't see it. Okay.
Didn't see it. I'm talking about an average worldwide. Okay, I didn't see it. No.
That's interesting.
So now, as you say, a lot of properties have closed.
Yes.
Especially the smaller ones.
Yeah.
But the big players are there.
What percentage of properties would you say have closed, at least on Dormscom?
Actually, I was trying to get this number with this call. I wouldn't be. I don't have the exact number, but I would not be surprised by 25%.
25%.
Not closed.
Yeah.
They just closed, just
temporary shutdown.
Yeah, temporary. I'm not talking about certain players, as you mentioned in the past, in California, that have actually closed.
Right.
You know, a lot of properties are just shutting down and will reopen in hopefully very soon.
Interesting.
So on our side on Dormscom, we didn't really lay off anybody or anything. We reshift some of our staff around. First dealing with the funds, and now we're reshifting around to supporting the properties, because at the end of the day, this is a perfect time to actually look at your PMS system, looking at your OTA.
It is.
It's easy to do now. On top of it, to sign up to an OTA or Dormscom, it takes 15 to 20 minutes for your property. But you got your 20 minutes now. There's no customers, no guests. So you got more time to do this. So we're doing a lot of things to support the properties right now, more than the guests, because the guests are only doing.
That's a good point. Now, what about about the hostel closures? Do you think there will be a significant amount of hostels that close and do not reopen? Do you have any thoughts or data on that?
No, everything we see is we're closing down for 60 days or 30 days. We're going to reevaluate in 50. They're trying, they're trying to save money and just closing down for now and just that's it. No, my guess is under 5% will actually close.
That's cool. Now, in that, and Bob, did you have something you wanted to ask? Bob Dyer, did you have?
Yeah, real quick. I was just thinking, from the dorms.com perspective, as you guys are, offer a lot of great marketing to drive bookings. Is there any strategy or things you guys have right now on how you're going to connect with travelers and try and get them to book more or take more trips now? It's kind of a strange time because obviously right now it's kind of unknown because there's so many restrictions, but is there something that you guys find will be a good way to drive traffic, and maybe hostels could do a similar approach?
Yeah, we do see bookings picking up the past few days and for July and August, but it's related to the refundable and non-refundable, okay? So so we do two things. On the non-refundable, we do a lot of properties actually ask us to collect on the behalf of the property. Okay, so what we do is at time of booking, we actually collect on behalf of the property 100%. It's non-refundable, not transferable. Okay, the benefit of this is for cash flow, obviously, because we collect it and we send it to you, so it's non-refundable. We are just added a feature because of some guests have tendency to do chargebacks. If it's not for whatever reason, I can't go, so I'm charging back one of my credit card. So I'm sure you got that as well. So we just did, and we're just to help the hostels. We just added a feature which is 3D verification for anything above 250 euros.
Oh, that's smart.
So anything over 250 euros, we actually ask for 3D. So this way, there's no way they're going to get a charge back if they change their mind, or they say for whatever reason that car was stolen from me or anything like that. It's not happening because it's 3D. So we're adding this feature for properties that want us to collect on their behalf, and that helps for cash flow, especially right now with cash flow. So when there's bookings, if it's non-refundable, that's a clear one. If it's refundable, though, we have bookings. All the bookings we get are refundable, and that is really difficult to see. This really it's going to hold, because if you book in July, you can cancel 48 hours before arrival. If we're still in the COVID-19 period right now, so that wouldn't work. So I've got to be very cautious with the refundable rates.
That's a good point. Yeah. For our thousands of viewers out there that have been holding their breath on this, what do you think if I were to put you on the hot seat of a date in the future where the industry would have restabilized, recovered? So by, let's say as an example, by September we'll be back to normal. What do you think, as just I know no one has the exact answer, but in your opinion, how long do you think it will take to fully recover, stabilize, normalize?
I want to make some comments first. If I'm looking at the European market, which is a big market for hostels and European travelers, our guests are obviously backpackers. That's first the demographic that want to get out of there. They think they're invincible. They think it's only for all the population that are going to be okay. So they don't really think it's going to affect them. So they're just waiting for an excuse to get out. So the good news is the minute this thing opens up, the first one to go are going to be our guests. Okay, if they are 18 to, especially Gen Z, more than millennials. So that's number one. There is for the European market, I think I'm optimistic in a way that there is a political motivation to reopen the Schengen zone in Europe. For the people who don't, I assume if you don't know what Schengen is, it's 420 million people in 26 countries that can travel anywhere in Europe.
Okay. Wow.
So this is a zone where you can go without your passport and just cross from one country to the other. That's a Schengen zone. And that is really the European community itself. And right now, Germany, France, and other countries really want to show that it is European community. They don't want to show that, like it's been so far, everywhere in the world, every country is on its own, which is dealing with its own problems, and nobody is working with other people, really. unfortunately, that's the way it is. So now I think it's going to be a real push to open the Schengen zone sooner than later. And I will not be surprised by July 15th to have that open. Okay?
Right.
In the Schengen zone. That means all those Europeans are going to travel within Europe. I wouldn't be surprised by that.
That's awesome.
Now, Europeans going to USA, that's going to be a challenge.
Yes.
And that's going to take longer.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that evolves.
They're going to want to see what's going to happen with the second wave. Some people are talking about for October, September time zone, the second wave in conjunction with the regular flu. If that is under control, then I would say November 1st.
There we go.
Now, November is not a great, it's not a big season. There's still New Year's Eve, Christmas, all those. So I would say, to me, July 15th for Europe and North America. North America, I would say November 15th, December 1st for travelers going back and forth.
I think those are some.
You're asking me what I think.
Yeah.
And you put me on the spot.
I know.
This is what I do.
Yes. No, but that's what people wanted to hear. They need to hear those type of estimates based off of someone from your vantage point, your data, your experience. But Bobby Dyer and I were talking last night, and one thing that he brought up, and it kind of ties into what you're saying about the North American industry, is we might actually see a slower summer, but then maybe a stronger fall and winter, because that's when we get released and people are allowed to go. And so although it's kind of, for San Diego, moving into the slower season, that might actually be stronger than usual because of just the timeline of this unique scenario. So I think that's good for everyone to be able to plan for, because that's the reality. We were talking about that last night in our plans of, we should budget for ourselves in case the summer isn't good. But maybe the fall, the winter will be better, but we shouldn't rely on that. But these are all things that we should have on the purview. So I really do appreciate.
Yeah. There's something we didn't talk about, is the group bookings. Okay. We got 70 requests a day on groups, usually, per day, right? But now we're like down to 10% of it, okay? But we are looking at it, and there's some group requests for May and June, and we know it's not going to happen. Okay? So the group kind of might take longer. I see schools and so on just saying, some parents are going to say, I don't want my kid to go with other group. So it's going to be maybe a bigger challenge for groups.
Yeah.
Traveling. So I think the group industry for groups, it's going to take longer.
Yeah.
That's nice. FIT, no groups, it's going to take longer.
Yeah.
And I really think that's going to work for next year.
I think that's a good point. Well, thank you so much, Chris from Dorms.com. Really appreciate you taking time out of your day to give us some enlightenment on the industry from your angle. It's so important to get that perspective. As well as Bobby Dyer, thank you from IT for joining us.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Bobby. Thanks, James.
And stay tuned for more episodes. We have another great episode with Jim Kennett from the Pacific Northwest Hostel up in Oregon that we'll be recording later today. But stay tuned for hostelmanagement.com to release these upcoming episodes. Until next time, stay tuned. All right. Good enough. Thanks so much, Chris. That was great. That was awesome.
Yeah.
There's one or two things I didn't talk about. Just let me.
Yeah, if you want to add it, you can talk about it here.
Yeah.
We actually, I would like to get your feedback. We're gonna, when you do a description of a property, we're gonna add a new section for hostels where you can talk about what are you doing to make sure you, like, for safety and cleaning and so on. So we're looking at maybe adding a section to say, what are we doing about coronavirus in our hostel? Just something like that about cleaning and safety. So we're wondering if it's worth it to add, sometimes you have a description, a different description in your page. Is that worth it?
I think
or
so.
not?
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Hey, guys,
people feel confident
I'm down here. Okay, so I obviously don't have this Zoom bombing thing down. Okay, Chris, I just wanted to let you know that I really like that idea. One of the most frustrating wait, let me actually, I don't have to be scrunched down in this area. One of the most frustrating things during this COVID-19 is communicating to our guests about what the special procedures that they need to adhere to when they're in the hostel. And a lot of the OTAs, they don't even have a place for a description. So we can't communicate to people, and people show up just like, I don't know, I just thought I was booking a hotel. So having a special place to communicate the COVID-19 procedures, which really for San Francisco are changing from day to day, would be invaluable, so that we could just go in and change that one little area. Particularly if we can change that area and we don't have to wait 24 hours for a review, because as I said, like, we're getting new information from health officials like every day, and trying to communicate to people who are making reservations is really complicated. So kudos to you guys for adding this feature, and I'll let you guys get back to what's your conversation. Sorry to interrupt.
Go to this hostel and they're taking care of it. What do you think?
We were talking about that as far as, we were talking about group rentals. We have a couple of vacation rental houses for groups of 15 or so, but you would imagine that people are going to want to have like the sanitary wipes and all these new amenities need to be included at least until this blows over. So the same kind of thing.
You're COVID-19 certified. Like, they've got this Orkin pest control company that has this spray service. We had them come into one of our hostels that had a person pop positive. So then we were all freaked, like, oh my God, someone tested positive inside the hostel. These places are like a plague ship. One person gets sick, they're all going to get sick. So we paid for this COVID-19 spray. They came in like hazmat suits and sprayed the whole building. And then when they were done, they slapped a stamp on it that said, this facility has been COVID-19 sprayed. It made it very easy when the county health department called us the next day. And I told them, hey, I got this spray. And the girl on the other end of the line was like, oh, thank God, I can just close your case and move on to a next file. So that was for us.
We're so local.
Yeah,
that's very good. Now, for guests, I think personally, if I was going to book somewhere and I know they're talking about, say, this is what we do, we clean this, we do this, we do this, we do this, I feel confident they're taking care of it, so I can go in. That's my point of view.
Yeah.
You guys agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. I mean, I think that it's an important topic, though, and I think that in the same way we were thinking about putting on our website somewhere that we have like this Orkin cleanliness thing, or where it's got this certification. I think it would be really important on the booking sites too, if there could be some type of like classification. Like this is a green, like you have green certifications when you're green, right? This is a COVID-19 certified hostel.
Like the face mask icon, an icon of the face mask.
A little icon for that section. But what about we didn't talk about weekly.
Get my computer charged.
Trying to get more revenues, and obviously going not just by days, but trying to extend the stay of such a customer to guest for a week or 2 weeks or something. Try to make it easier for everyone to say, okay, what can I do? How can I do more with the same guest, obviously?
Yeah.
For them to stay longer. There's downside of that, obviously, as you know.
Yeah.
Some people start to think they're in their own place, they own the place, they wait or two. But so that is something. We're talking about credits as well. We didn't talk about it, but
yeah, we're thinking about like we're putting together like selling a virtual punch card of sorts that you can buy 10 stays in advance at a discount that can be used to try to like drum up some cash flow. And different tactics like that. We're doing a weekly rate right now, which is super cheap. And we got a lot of people that were in transit, people that were kicked out of the college dorms that didn't want to go home, other backpackers that can't travel back home. So we've gotten some traction with the weekly rate on that thing, but it's also interesting and evolving, and how it's connected to other countries. Who will be allowed to go? Yeah, it's very complex.
It's very difficult. We have a way to do a rate plan, which is for weekly. If you have 7 nights,
Yeah,
and you get a discount. If you have 14 nights, you get a discount.
nice.
Now, how many nights maximum do you want to give to a guest? Because after a while, issues.
Yeah,
But right now, I think you want the business. If you can have people staying longer, that's great, because you want the revenue. It's just tough. Yeah, well, that's it for me.
all right. We have a 12 o'clock one we've got to go jump into now. But Chris, again, thank you so much.